hasn't led to fast wins for them so far. HLE coming in with second pick. I'm hoping we get something interesting coming out in this draft. Something that really leans into the changes. We got like a light touch towards that in the last series.
I want someone to build a cyclosword, man.
That would be fun. If there's a player who's going to do it, I think it's Kanavi.
Yeah.
He would play the sort of champions who build cycloswords. Interesting, still so much Rise priority despite Phase Rush being gone and the fact that it was losing in the road to EWC. So still teams looking toward it. Jarvan banned here, and then presumably this is a Karma ban from HLE.
You'd hope so, as these are the pretty stock standard bans. I mean, do you need to ban Bard away from Life or Delight? That is the kind of question that you need to ask yourself. Kind of surprising that Life is once again back on the roster, but if he's the one that played in the road to EWC, not changing that makes a lot of sense to me. Unintentional rhyme, but so these things happen.
They banned
Pantheon, really?
Yeah, they banned the Ezreal, which I think is like, okay, we don't want the potential if you get an Ezreal Karma. If you're going to first pick Karma. And I think DN Supers are like, look, Karma and Bard are both open and available. We'll just take Pantheon instead, get priority on that. And if you want to make your choice out of those, you can.
But don't you just get Jhin Karma?
You could just go Jhin Karma. It'd be very strong. And I guess maybe DN Supers go Ash Seraphine in response, but it looks like HLE more set on the Bard than the Karma, in fact. So,
I do think that the Xin Zhao just pairs so incredibly effectively with the Karma that I was really expecting that to come in because Kanavi loves the Xin Zhao so much. But to steer away from that is an interesting one. Now probably just going to play Jhin, I would assume. Unless Kanavi wants to take something, but isn't really in a rush to pick a jungler right now, as Caitlyn is going to be the decision instead.
Yeah, K-Bard, Jhin Bard are some of the strong lanes you can pair with it. Opting to go for the Caitlyn, a pick that Gumayusi is obviously very practiced on. On the other side, Jhin Karma just going to come through. So, two pretty strong 2v2s. I do think that Jhin Karma has the edge there, and it is just going to be that Xin Zhao. So...
yeah, that was always going to be the lock-in here. I don't think they really need to think about it too much, and they will just lock that one away. Now, to ban some solo lanes on both sides.
Yeah, second pick is there for HLE, so I imagine the DN Supers will be banning away some of those troublesome top laners that you don't want to deal with, the likes of...
Jace.
Yeah, maybe like the TF, maybe like the Vayne. Jace Vayne's been a very popular ban in like the second rotation of bans for teams that don't have counter pick. Akali taken away here in this situation.
The Zeka Azir is looming. Now they ban LeBlanc, and then we really wonder what they're going to play.
They ban Azir themselves. Okay. So they ban Akali, not wanting to play against that, but maybe didn't want to give too much freedom over to Clozer to pick Azir himself. Any ban comes through. A pick that obviously has a lot of setup, a lot of power there. And the thing was, with HLE's composition so far, their engage isn't super reliable right now. It's kind of mostly just a Bard tempered fate.
How do you get engage from mid lane or top? Sion could certainly work if they wanted to throw Zeus onto that one. It does feel like a misuse of his power.
It is tempered fate, right? I feel like I'm second-guessing myself now.
Yeah, ever since I completely messed it up and called it Fate's Call and Twisted Fate and all sorts of things.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm asking you, because you're...
Yeah, no, I'm the one that literally created the Reddit thread. I didn't create the Reddit thread, but I forced it because of my ineptitude, to say the right word. It is tempered fate.
Okay. I will trust you on this.
But the more sure I feel, the less sure I am, you know?
So Aurora comes through, Ahri's the response, but then they just blind Renekton, and they didn't go for the Jace Vayne bans. They went Jace Annie. And Zeus, even before this kind of became the meta, was the person who would pick range tops and just bully you out and give you a terrible time.
Yeah. Okay. Instead, it's going to be a different range top that has a 3-stack auto-attack passive.
So I think in terms of the laning phase, this gives a lot more freedom to DuDu. We've seen our Aux recently do pretty well in the early stages. Our Renekton, do pretty well in the early stages into Gnar. But Gnar will obviously outscale in the matchup. But I think the reason HLE went in this direction is having the Gnar is an option if he's on a flank and threaten and provide a form of engage, and also just a bit more of a robust front line. So definitely picking more for the 5v5, even if it is a bit of a less punishing lane that Zeus can capitalize on. I do think that DN Supers, though, they have a lot of skirmishing power. The Jhin
This is a scary drop.
armor, yeah, it's a lot of power. And they have like the... Sometimes you feel like with a composition that has a Jhin, you're kind of... You run out of momentum when he's reloading or when his ult's down. But with the Ahri, once you start getting those kills, the reset potential is going to keep them driving forward in those team fights.
Not to mention, they have a Karma to help Pantheon close the gap, to help Renekton close the gap, right? I think you have like that extra movement speed that you get from the Inspire, not to mention the extra survivability, I think is very, very powerful in a composition like this. And I think this is a great foot forward here for the DN Supers, who were quite competitive against HLE just a couple of days ago. But HLE certainly do have a whole lot of comfort in this draft at the same time. Get on the rift for game one. All right, Hanwha fans in full voice here today. And let's see whether they're going to be rewarded for their volume. As Life doesn't quite find the cue, but that's okay. I think Delight and Gumayusi are going to be pretty happy to put on as much pressure as they can, but I imagine that deokdam and Life should have the tools to be quite competitive here in this lane.
And you know what? We don't get any new runes coming out. No death by
No. Just keeping it honest. As Delight taking a fair bit of damage here, but deokdam also taking the most back. Gumayusi was a bit of a Caitlyn connoisseur back in his day, as we did see it played alongside Carrier's Lux many, many times. You know, this was a pretty famous pairing for the two of them as they were on T1. So something that I am very much looking forward to seeing Gumayusi play to his full extent once again. Has, of course, played it a couple of times so far this season. It hasn't really felt like that masterstroke that it has in the past, some of those T1 drafts.
And this is a lane where, you know, we saw the early trading happening, but Karma Jhin has a lot of power. I think I give it the edge over the Kate Bard, but definitely comes down to execution as well. The Siguma and Delight so far have the early prior in that lane.
And DuDu was playing the Renekton when, you know, DNS were doing pretty well against HLE a couple of days ago, right? Like this was, you were mentioning the fact that this matchup hasn't been as bad for the Renekton these days. And this was something that DuDu did use to pretty great effect. Does that help us get towards a being happy about this scenario? Or is it still going to be a very difficult time? That's
I think
question.
I think draft-wise, they've done pretty good. I think the picks are fine, and I think we've seen the Renekton matchup be okay. That was Zeka was so close to taking a tower hit there.
He was.
Back of that charm. Yeah, it's just more so concerns about the individual performances. And even though obviously that series wasn't as one-sided as we maybe expected, it was still a 2-0 victory. It was still HLE coming out ahead.
But I do feel like sometimes when you've just been chain losing over and over again, it's the confidence that's the biggest problem. As soon as something feels winnable, I think that can be very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Right? And so now DNS kind of uniquely immediately get that rematch. And so they might be able to use that to try and fuel some confidence here moving into this game.
Playing with confidence is so key. When you want to go for, even if it's just something as simple as throwing a skill shot, having the confidence that you're going to connect it can make all the difference. Kanavi definitely a player who plays with confidence no matter what.
Yep.
Sometimes unaimed given the situation.
It's a skill. I actually think that it's very, very important to be able to just always think that you're going to win. In a game like this, as right now, it's Kanavi going for an early gank, immediately flashes after DuDu, manages to get the knock up there, wind becomes lightning, and no flash, no slice and dice, and down goes the Renekton. Oh dear, Kanavi really starting early this game.
Yeah, just catching DuDu off guard, and DuDu ends up flashing towards the river. I think maybe he was like, hey, I can move towards my jungler if there's time. wasn't able to make the getaway there, though, and it's just an easy pickup. And the kill goes over to Zeus as well. Talked about how, obviously, the Renekton as well early in this matchup, but this can really disrupt it quickly. I assume that the slice was on cooldown, or he was...
Or he was trying to get closer to the wall and just didn't make it in time.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate, whatever way you spin it.
Still, now it's kind of moved to hell territory here on this top side. Steel Cap's completed, very powerful item into the Renekton. Zeus will just be able to run DuDu down. Yeah, does get Conqueror procced, and he's now looking to try and turn it. Actually finds a fair bit of value there. But Zeus will just not let DuDu make it to the wave, as he does have all of that health incoming with the Mega Gnar transformation. There it is. And so yeah, DuDu now without a flash, without a teleport, and without a whole lot of ability to have fun in this lane.
Zeus went so aggressive there, knowing he was going to get the level up so he could potentially threaten an ult, but DuDu survives, and he's going to hit 6 soon, and once he has his ult available, a lot of that threat is reduced.
Does also have a farm lead.
HP.
It's kind of impressive.
What were you saying?
I said that DuDu has a farm lead.
Oh, yeah.
Zeus not really focused on hitting the minions, was mainly focused on hitting the crocodile, which we don't really blame him for. It's Gumayusi just having some snacks here towards the top side. The spirit of Carrier living on via the skin choice here of Delight, helping Gumayusi feel at home.
And they've, again, it's not a lead necessarily that they've had in the bot lane so far, but they've constantly had pressure, which isn't super easy to have in this matchup. So Gumayusi and Delight doing well in the 2v2 so far. If you can keep a Jhin Karma at bay, then you could definitely tick in some boxes.
Absolutely. Going to be able to clear out that wave once again, slink off into the fog of war, and see what kind of vision control they can put together for themselves. Man, every time we look at this top lane, it is just not a fun time. Oftentimes where we don't want to look at top lane because it's boring, this we don't want to look at top lane because I don't want to empathize with DuDu, because it'll make us all sad.
I think it feels worse that he doesn't have his flash as well. That was banned on that play, because I feel like a lot of the threat onto Mini Gnar is that you can just flash on him and potentially burst him if he gets a bit too close. And that you don't have that means Zeus can play so aggressively and not really worry about being engaged on.
Weird thing is that I say this about it looking like it's a horrible time for DuDu. He's still ahead in farm, he's just having a good time, I guess. Even though it looks horrible, maybe he is actually happy, because numbers still go up.
Yeah, he has a
And in the end, number go up is probably the most important thing, right? Yeah, number go up and number go down.
Number goes down to then give you gold, which makes that number go up.
Yeah. But the number go down is the process, and it does feel all right when it's a cull. deokdam has to use his barrier to avoid the ace in the hole damage, because he doesn't want to be going back too early. Man, HLE just with a massive amount of control here. I feel like the Bard into the Karma seems to be something that HLE might have figured out. And we have seen it before, but just being so confident in the choice, it's pretty impressive, as DuDu is going to get slammed backwards. Bit of a fight breaking out, though, around this dragon, as Kanavi is well and truly on it. The curtains have been called, though, as now the rest of DNS wondering whether or not they want to go in. Right now, haven't really pulled the trigger, as holding on to the last bullet is deokdam, but will not be throwing that one out. Tempered Fate is going to come on through, or is it Fate's Call? Not entirely sure. In goes Pyosik. Will be able to probably lock down Kanavi here as he goes down exceptionally low, flashes the wall, flash in from Pyosik to put him down. It will be HLE getting themselves the Drake, but they do have to trade their jungler for it.
Yeah, HLE, great setup on the dragon to secure the objective, but we weren't really able to find their way out of the... oh, Zeka's in trouble.
Yeah. Chain comes on through, just needs to hit that wall as the charm comes down, and it's not enough.
Yeah, they'll hop away on your E, able to save Zeka from that situation. And doesn't end up using his flash as well, which is pretty big, so maintains that lengthier cooldown, only burns the ult. We'll see the replay of this. Jhin not getting a ton of value, to be honest.
Just sort of doesn't shoot the last one.
Yeah, and then they use the Tempered Fate to distract Pyosik and stop him from being able to contest the dragon. But that charm from Clozer sets up the burst onto Kanavi, and with him down, the rest of the team can't really achieve much.
Kind of crazy that Kanavi survived for as long as he did, but still, Pyosik was able to get over that wall and take him out. No flash now on the Pantheon, but I don't think he's too worried about that. He's now attempting to take down these grubs and should be successful, especially with DuDu's help. And so we do reach a little bit of respite here as there is no contest for those grubs. A few extra camps now available for Kanavi to take down. Will be on the Krugs into the Raptors, into his Gromp. And Guma just very happily sieging out this bottom outer turret. This is something that a lot of Jhins do, right? Like, you leave the Jhin in the lane because he's relatively self-sufficient, clears waves pretty well. But I don't know whether it's exactly the greatest thing to just let Gumayusi have as many plates as he wants at all times.
Yeah, not exactly a promising strategy. But in fairness, Life is still keeping it close in terms of gold.
That's true. And he has made it back to the lane, which is also important. Zeus really is hitting DuDu far more than anything else here in this lane.
Yeah, well, the minions die a lot quicker than DuDu does, so...
That's a good point, even though they were buffed.
They were.
And they don't hurt each other as much either.
Yeah, more friendly.
Yeah.
I see them battling on the Rift so often, so nice that they've...
It's weird that all that practice has made them weaker over time.
Yeah. How many minions do you think
have died
in League of Legends?
Across every game ever?
Yeah.
80 trillion.
80 trillion? Honestly, it's probably in that ballpark.
I have no idea what that number really means. You know, that's not a conceptualizable number, I don't think. It's all right. There's Grand Starfall. Zeka just trying to get himself out of there. He just goes between the worlds. He is absolutely fine. That is ridiculous. Did have to use the flash this time. Zeus is chasing down DuDu once again. Oh. Can he hit the house? He cannot. And DuDu walks away without the flash.
Honestly, he was about to get another auto proc, the hyper there.
Oh dear. Well, Life is being cosmically bound. Kanavi was looking for an angle there, but they do just get the flash out, and he will survive. But Akama with no flash, pretty killable target.
Yeah. I think Zeus ultimately went Mega a little bit too early. Was going to proc the 3-hit passive with that last auto, and then switched into Mega form, and obviously lost his range and that ability to finish off. DuDu, not 100% certain that last auto would have killed him, but...
Might have at least got a flash.
Yeah.
If you get that last auto, then you threaten a house, then maybe it works out that way. Regardless, I mean, Zeus still has a whole lot of controllers. Now there is a Tempered Fate to come down and interrupt the curtain call.
That's one of the things with playing Jhin into Bard, is that he can just do that whenever you ult. Really frustrating to deal with.
Zeka gonna get charmed as he tries to dash cannon to avoid it. Still is doing a fair bit of work here, as both of our mid laners have hit first items. This is the annoying part. It looks great for Renekton for like a little bit of time. And then DuDu says that he's finished trading and tries to walk away, and then it just feels terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think a factor in it was obviously that early gank helped Zeus a lot. But also we've seen this matchup go various different ways depending on who's playing it, who's executing. I think Zeus has done a good job, given he got that little bit of extra help. He's taken it a pretty long way. And, I mean, DuDu's ahead in farm still, which is impressive. But it does feel like the pressure is sort of moving very much towards Zeus' side.
Well, Pyosik clearing out vision here, as next Drake is in 7 seconds. DuDu behind the turret has gone Dominus mode. There is at least no Gnar available here for Zeus. But with Zeka coming on over, that is just a very dead crocodile.
Sets the kill up for Zeka, lets him take it, get on the board. DuDu very deep in that situation. Not really a good exit path for him to get out to. Now, because of that topside lean from Zeka, it does mean DNS can just pick up the dragon pretty much on
can they? The flash in, Cosmic Binding going to stun up Pyosik here as Gumayusi trying to get into position as Zeka goes between the worlds. Ace in the hole comes down, and there is a dead Pantheon. deokdam unable to really affect this fight as Delight gets out with a sliver of health, and Life is very much not here anymore. Kanavi going to take him down, and the entire time, Zeus having a field day because his top lane opponent was dead. Three in a row? All day Chemtech Souls?
It's just one of those days.
It is definitely a Chemtechy day. I don't know what it means or how I feel about it as the Flash Charm comes in. Curtain call onto Zeka, who just needs to be hit by another Foxfire, and down he will go. Good pick Zeka no flash.
Clozer sets that one up well to be able to find that. Here's that fight around Dragon. And ultimately, stun starts off here from Delight. The fact Delight ends up surviving here is kind of insane. We see the ult from Guma followed up on by Zeka to finish it. And Delight gets super low, doesn't go down, and no resets come through for Clozer. He was probably going to leave after getting the kill anyway, but the no resets guarantees that that Charm Flash was just beautiful from Clozer. Catches out Zeka. Nothing he can do to get away from this with the Jhin ult coming down.
Yep. And now upgrade some shoes. Gumayusi and deokdam will park themselves here in this mid lane. So still a decent lead here for HLE. And they have double dragon. Like, everything is kind of going their way. However, there is looking like a bit more fight in DNS than there was, especially in their previous series in this tournament, right? The first time these two teams met, we had the fastest game of the season. And so this is certainly an upgrade to that. As DuDu is, like, I mean, it was on the Renekton that he was able to get so much done. This time around, though, he is 0-2-0. And so despite that farm advantage, he is still behind by a little bit of gold.
He's keeping it close, but obviously not ideal for him to have died twice already at this point.
Yeah, Cull already cashed in for DuDu as well, and Zeus is still 30 away. So it's a little bit of a misleading gold difference between the two. Zeus
and
made the investment.
Kanavi, we'll have a look at this fight first.
Yeah.
There is one. Coming in from the Ahri mid lane.
Pretty cute that Kanavi is going for that new build that you were talking about in our previous series as well. But like you say, let's focus on this as they are just going to take down the Herald. And the DN Soopers just a little bit late to the play. Tempered Fate is going to lock down Pyosik, but they do get the Deadly Flourish onto the Bard, and down will go Delight. Nice little pick off here as the curtains have now been called. Looking to try and catch them on the retreat. Slow onto both Kanavi and to Zeka as Pyosik makes his way in. And no Between Worlds for you, Zeka, as he just gets sniped.
Just some great target selection there from the DN Soopers. You can see how their composition works. So,
another great charm is going to connect here. Clozer taking matters into his own hands today.
So good at chasing down targets with the Jhin ult, with the Pantheon ult, and then Clozer with the resets. Once you start taking them down, Knavi's looking.
Yeah, going to get in onto deokdam here. When becomes lightning, still hits after the flash. That feels subpar, but he is able to get himself out of there. Gets a big old shield from Life, who is now looking to try and take care of his jungler as well. And he will be able to keep them both alive. Still not able to find too much more than that. Ace in the hole comes in, and oh my goodness, that is faith in your support right there. But Life wishes he had support.
I thought, honestly, that Delight, when he went to block, he's going to stun both of them on the back of it.
Oh, that would have been sick.
But I think maybe he was waiting for his Q cooldown for just a second. That would have been crazy. Either way, HLE getting a lot out of this play. The kill on the Life is nice, but Summoner's Burn from the DNS bot lane here. We'll see first this fight around Herald. And I think getting that first target, connecting onto the first person is so vital. The route from deokdam into the Charm on Delight gives that initial momentum. And then when the Jhin ult and the Pantheon ult come down, you just have to scatter. And fortunately, Kanavi and Guma are able to get back to the tower before this play continues. But you can see how much threat there is when the Ahri has reset chasing you down, the Jhin ult's over the top of it all.
Yeah.
Exactly what DNS want from their composition.
And the really good thing is their target selection has been fantastic, right? Like, their coordination hasn't been their strong suit, as DuDu is just going to get slapped down by the Meeps. A little bit unfortunate there, as 0-3-0 Renekton isn't exactly what you want to be talking about. But DNS in these skirmishes have definitely looked a whole lot more coordinated. And that is a good thing. But Dusk Till Dawn is going to come through here for Kanavi.
Yeah, so what I've often seen...
Isn't it Dusk and Dawn?
Dusk and Dawn, yeah.
Dusk to Dawn is a... that's a movie.
I've seen people go in like Dusk and Dawn Static Shiv, but this kind of combines the Titanic Hydra that we know Kanavi really enjoys as first item and the Dusk and Dawn.
Well, let's see how it does as he just Mega Blast Cones his way into two people. There's a Crescent Guard as well as... Alright, maybe the item's fantastic as he hasn't died yet. But the ult has now expired. Curtains called one more time. Charm is going to get sidestepped gorgeously here by Kanavi. Couldn't have done that without a Dusk and Dawn as in goes DuDu. That's 4 people though, and Gumayusi just hits him with a net. and the Crocodile has certainly been tamed. Zeus is now diving into 3, finds all of them with the Gnar, as now Clozer is just going to get slapped down. It's a triple for Zeka, getting his revenge as he picks up the quadra kill. And HLE, I mean, there's still 50 seconds on the Baron, so I don't think DNS need to worry about that. But maybe worrying about just getting clean aced at 19 minutes is enough.
Yeah, not great for the outcome of this game. 6,700 gold lead already, and HLE looking to pick up that third dragon. Let's see the replay of this one. Kanavi goes in very aggressively, gets CC'd off the offset. Duskin Dawn now heals. If you're wondering where a lot of this health comes in, they lower the stats a bit and gave it some healing, so able to get a lot more survivability. He goes in here, dodges away from the charm nicely, and they just focus down the Pantheon. And I feel like DNS are so scattered on this play, because they lose their Pantheon, they then end up losing their Renekton, who just kind of charges in and dies. And then the follow-up that comes through, you've got to see it from Zeus' point of view, that huge ult.
Yeah, just before the snare as well. Oh. Zeus is pretty good at Gnar.
That can be said again.
Zeus is pretty good at Gnar.
Yeah, they did obviously change. Oh, they are looking for the Renekton again.
Oh, pick the flash! Oh, delight! That is a beautiful play. Finds the Tempered Fate onto the Renekton as well. And they'll take Pyosik down. Zeka is looking to try and chase the flash for the ace in the hole from downtown. But the accidental double kill might be enough to make Zeka feel happy as life is taken out. Clozer in trouble there as well as Kanavi dives in, does get charmed, but the tower did about 1 trillion damage to him and he will just die. Maybe a little bit of extra gusto there from Kanavi than he really needed, but I mean, he wouldn't be him if he didn't do that.
Honestly, for DNS, it was kind of like the Saving Private Ryan moment, in the fact that like everyone died around the person they're trying to save. Because
but at least they did save him.
They did save him. It was a great predict from Delight here. Life walks up like, actually it's Pyosik first who goes in to try and save him, just dies, slammed in the wall. And then Life here is trying to move in to peel and just gets exploded by Zeka.
Zeka like kills him out of frustration because he couldn't get the Renekton.
Yeah, but you know, DuDu will get to live another day. Those are a good amount of damage there to blow up Kanavi with the help of 16 tower hits.
Yeah.
Felt like.
And now Zeka is all of a sudden 8-2.
Yeah,
which does feel a little bit like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so one of the things is that obviously they changed Dusk and Dawn, but another reason we're seeing it on the Xin Zhao is that they buffed a lot of his AP ratios, his passive healing, his E had an AP ratio already, but they increased it massively. And even the slow on his W, his E gets more attack speed. They've massively incentivized AP on his champion.
They're like hybrid builds, I guess.
Yeah, like
better.
You're probably not going to go full AP unless you're playing like an ARAM or messing around.
On hit, static shift, Xin Zhao is back, baby.
I mean, I've seen that, honestly. But I think in terms of like pure, like you're not going to go like a Rabadon's.
Why not? What if he wants to be a wizard too?
I mean, he can do that when he wants to.
How is he supposed to get sorted into Gryffindor without the sorting hat?
But this sort of hybrid build, bringing in some items with AP ratios that also just sync well with his kit, you just get a lot more value than you did before.
DuDu is a punching bag this game, and Zeus is demonstrating that. It's just not looking like a good time. Still, Zeus is now here at least, so the rest of DNS don't need to worry about it too much. The Baron is a consideration now, but 1 minute left on this Chemtech Soul that HLE have available to them.
Yeah.
7,000 gold is a large amount of gold.
It's substantial, and it's widespread as well. Everyone apart from deokdam has a pretty significant gold disadvantage. Even Delight has a 1,500 gold lead above Life. I don't know how that happened, but that's... I mean, look at the items. He has the full Locket and the full Mikhails. There's some solid items.
Yep. He's certainly able to take care of his friends pretty effectively. And we do have the IE done here for Gumayusi, who has the lowest lead compared to the rest of his teammates. Oh, down to 1 health. Pyosik going to have that one set up by Gumayusi. And he does at least have his Infinity Edge. This is not exactly the time that Caitlyn really wants to be playing the game. Wants to just be farming as much as possible. As Clozer sidesteps, Tempered Fate goes wide. And Pyosik makes his way down, but wasn't expecting Zeka to be there, I don't think, as he takes so much damage. Now Kanavi dives in, finds a Crescent Guard as DuDu is his target. Life takes him for a walk, but I don't know whether it's really going to help as the Flash Gnar onto 3. And Zeus just looks to take them all out, one after the other. The dominoes fall, and HLE lose no one in the exchange.
DNS not able to find the engage they want, and as soon as that momentum is killed, HLE turn it around. Zeus coming in to be the fight ender there. We see, so initially the ult comes in, he's like, okay, I'll turn this into an engage, but it just feels a bit overforced. Guma backs off very defensively, has summoners as well, so he was always going to be safe. And then here, they're pushing forward, and we see Zeus looking for this angle, goes for the slam to get Clozer into the terrain, and then it's just clean up from there with multiple members of DNS going down and only Pyosik surviving. Soul now picked up for HLE in a 9,300 gold lead. This one is looking pretty doomed.
Yeah, it's not looking like it's going to be all that winnable for DNS. Yeah, I think that basically sums it up. That is Chemtech Soul, though, so it's not exactly the largest and bestest of souls, so it's not a game ender. I think the 9,000 gold in advantage is probably going to be the one that really seems insurmountable. Zeus having a pretty fantastic game, though, as Tempered Fate comes down. Life is going to soak that one up. It looks like they're playing decent defense for now, but Life is still just kind of dead by accident. Pyosik also suffering a very similar fate here, as they will be able to take out the Pantheon. Now Clozer just trying to dash away, but he runs out, does finally press the ultimate button, and DuDu, he'll die this time.
HLE with just great control of these fights, of this game. You can see Clozer trying to hold the ult because he's like, I need this if we're going to be able to defend the base. Ends up having to burn it, and now it's an ultless Ahri and this Jhin to try and defend. Just clear a decent amount of the wave, but I just don't think it's enough.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult as HLE one Nexus turret between them and a Game 1 victory here. Charm is going to connect, but Zeus able to just hop out of the way, and it is a bare Nexus. The DNS are desperately trying to defend. Running out of minions a little bit here as Kanavi goes in. And the Nexus, they're just going to hold off on it for now as they try and pick up a couple of extra kills before they say goodnight to this game. As Delight will die, but they will be able to take down Pyosik one last time before they secure the Nexus. HLE not really skipping a beat here, moving into this match against DNS, looking absolutely dominant.
Just the form we've kind of come to expect from them. It feels like even when there were moments where maybe other teams would have been found wanting, where